I made these tombstones when I was 11 or 12 years old. 18 years later, my parents still use them. Today, I'm going to surprise them by making them new tombstones using this pink foam, and I'm going to paint them with mortar. You know what it is, another day, another project. This pink foam comes in big 4-foot by 8-foot sheets. Even in my truck, I have a 6.5-foot bed, and I did have to cut it down to get it in with my cap closed. One thing I did find is that there is scored lines every 16 inches or so, I think. I'm going to snap this one in half and cut some more pieces, and then we'll get gluing. Somebody once told me it's not the sharpest tool in the shed that you need to use here. This pink foam cuts really easily, so pretty much any saw will do. Gorilla Glue, in my research, was probably the best glue to use for this. It did work really, really well, so it foams up and it really grabbed onto the pink foam. I tried an aerosol glue, but it actually melted the surface. The Super 77 there actually melted the surface a little bit. And same thing with spray paints. Something about the aerosol that's in the can will literally just start eating away at the foam. Which we want to do later on, but we want to control it. So by using Gorilla Glue, it was the best option. Like I said, this stuff cuts really easily, so you can pretty much use any tools possible, any tools that you have. The one tool I would recommend, which was like a $6 tool, is the Sureform tool here. Once I got the shape down to where I wanted it, I started to use my sander to kind of sculpt any sharp edges and kind of round over and clean up spots. Then I just used a little bit of spackle to fill in any of the cracks and seams that I wanted to hide, let it dry, and it was on to carving. So as I started to carve the letters, I started to have a lot of problems, and I couldn't get the fine detail I wanted. So I went to the hardware store and I got a spiral bit. Looks like a drill bit, but it's an upcut spiral bit for a Dremel. And my Dremel doesn't have a stand like other people's do, so I taped it to a 2x4, and it's working really well. So I'm going to keep going with this and finish carving out all the letters, and then I'll weather it to make it look like rock, and then we'll paint it. I also have a surprise sign that I'm going to do for the yard. I have the rough shape drawn out. I'm going to cut it, start molding it, and I might keep it a secret, but you'll see what it looks like at the end. Now, I gotta give a huge shout out to Wicked Makers and Van Oaks Props here on YouTube. Both of those channels had some really good tutorials to watch about making foam props and headstones specifically. I'm mixing up what's known as monster mud here. I don't think they normally use mortar, but I saw a video on Van Oaks' page where he used mortar to paint the headstones, so I kind of just mixed paint and mortar till I got a consistency I liked, and it came out really nice. Then once that dried, I just moved on to the weathering process. I really just mixed a bunch of acrylic paints together until I got this muddy color. No need for glitter or gold here, just green, brown, kind of natural colors. And I got it super watery, so it just kind of dripped down and looked as natural as possible. Now, when I started painting this weathered wood look, it really reminded me of this guy who used to hold a sign on the corner looking for spare change for gas. He had a wooden sign and it just old beat up, and it really did look like this. Now, you don't need a fancy Cricut or plotting machine to make stencils. I draw mine up on Photoshop, cut them out with a razor, printer paper. It works well enough. If you want the edges to be crisper, put packing tape over it before you cut it out, and you'll get nice crisp lines. I'm gonna layer my stencils. I got 3 or 4 different colors I gotta do, and then you can see the final results. There you have it. We made some tombstones, and we made the Ogre Beware signs special surprise. So, thanks for following along. If you like what you see, you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out on Instagram at Dingo Does It All. Thank you. Tell her to get in her crate. Now, you don't need a fancy crate.